I rarely tell this story. It's a true story. And it has frightening connotations, overtones. You know, every one of us live through moments in our lives which seem completely random. But those may be the few moments that we actually learn anything out of life. Did any of you ever learn anything about life out of school? I mean, nobody has ever asked me about isosceles triangles. I spent 4 weeks trying to fight isosceles triangles. I go to college, I spent 2 years studying the Punic Wars. I haven't even met a guy since who knew what a Pune was. Most of the people think you take them when you... Says, yeah, I know what them things are. You eat them, they got wrinkles, you know. They're better than X-Lax, buddy. No, the Punic Wars, they... Oh, well. Even the New York Times has ignored the Punic Wars in its Sunday crossword puzzle. I know about them. It's not done me one damn bit of good. But that one night that the old man came home and said, let's go out for ice cream, became a historic moment in my life. We went out in the car, got in the Oldsmobile, drove down the driveway. It was a nice, hot night, just like any other hot night. Incidentally, I always feel that the most important moments in our lives happen on totally nondescript nights, when you least expect it. And that's the way it was. It was hot. Maybe that's why it happened. It was 110. Humidity, 500–600%. Wave your hand like that, and you get little lightning clouds. Bloom, bloom. Actually, you see the lightning playing around your hand. Bloom, bloom, bloom. You go like that, you got water all around you. We're driving, the old man's wearing his shorts. He has these mattress shorts. He had his White Sox T-shirt on. Says, I am a White Sox fan. He admitted to it proudly. My mother's sitting over here in the car with her aluminum rheostats. By the way, when the car would get moving and the wind would come in through the ventilator, you could hear her rheostats would make a faint humming sound. And then as the car got going faster, the pitch would pick up. And you'd hear, whoo. And I'm sitting in the back seat right behind my old man. My kid brother always sat behind my mother. He's sitting back there, his nose is running, he's whining. He always had to keep in practice. I'm sitting there listening to the old man. By the way, my father's art form was pure, undistilled, magically delineated with a fantastic beat and tempo, obscenity. When he was in the car. And he kept up this running, beautiful stream at all the other drivers. With one flick of the hand, he could conjure up obscenities man has never heard of. He invented his own words. And like all true artists, by the way, he knew the tempo and beat was important, selection. He hated amateur swearers. Nothing is sadder than a girl who has discovered liberation and goes around saying, damn, or hell, or... The old man says, come on, use it right. He wasn't against using it, he was for using it right. Modulated, beat, and tempo, placing it correctly. And so we're driving down towards the igloo. Everything is normal. The old man is going away there. My kid brother's nose is running. You could hear the wind going through those rheostats. It was kind of a distant sound of an ancient Greek chorus. Woo! My mother and father would have these big arguments. How many of you remember your mother and father having arguments in the front seat? What are you applauding? I mean, they get these arguments, and as they would argue, my mother's head would turn, and it would change the pitch. And you'd hear this Greek chorus go, oh, 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 lost and gone all thy ancient seas. Ooh. Yes, it was right out of Electra. You could just see my mother with the cruise. What boots this cruise that I carry? Oh, brother, on some far shore, Orestes. Ooh. You never hear Woody Allen quote Sophocles. That was the Sophoclean version of Electra. Not the same as Euripides. Well, by the way, this was a Greek tragedy. As we went down Holman Avenue, the old man says, what the hell's going on up there? And sure enough, the street was filled with thousands of people. This was a hot July night in Indiana. Thousands of people in front of this igloo store. You could see cars parked, people running down the street. The old man says, what the hell's going on? He got out, there's a guy running past here. He said, hey, what's going on? He says, they're having an ice cream price war. The Borden Dairy store across the street is selling ice cream cones, double dip, 2 for a dime. The old man flipped and we went running down. Sure enough, thousands of people were standing in front of them. Right across the street from Igloo was the Borden ice cream store, Lady Esther Ice Cream. Lady Borden. And thousands of people are waiting in line to get their ice cream cones, and they're coming out with giant ice cream cones, big 2-dip ice cream cones, 2 of them for a dime. And on the window it says, price war, double dip ice cream cones, 2 for a dime, any flavor. And across the street, the Igloo was empty. And I saw Mr. Ferguson standing in there behind his counter with all his clerks waiting. Nobody. His ice cream cones double dip were 25 cents. 2 for a dime. Borden was going to kill him. You don't think we waited, do you? You think we went to see Mr. Ferguson? Are you kidding? We stood in line. We were getting up near the front of the line when all of a sudden, Mr. Ferguson, he's looking out. You can see him right there at the window. He comes running out with a big can of whitewash. He's got a brush. So what are you guys? I thought you were my friends. Go ahead. Borden's is a great big company. All that cow, Elsie the cow business. Huh? All right, Elsie, take this. He takes his brush. Ice, cream, cones. Ice cream cones. 2 dips. When you see this, $0.03. The crowd, boom! They went across the street. It was like a human tidal wave. You could see little old ladies falling and the crowd trampling on them. You could hear the screams of the wounded and the dying. The old man says, come on, let's go, kids. We're standing in line. Thousands by now, by the way, the word has gotten out all over northern Indiana, as far south as Muncie. They're selling 3-cent ice cream cones. Guys were arriving in their pickup trucks from Kentucky, 400 miles to the south. Guys were coming down from Chicago to the north. There are probably 100,000 people waiting in line in front of the igloo. And these kids are putting them on, boy. 3 cents a shot. And Borden's is empty. Empty. They got this big plastic Elsie the cows there. And that Borden guy looked like a typical organization man. He's the only guy that I ever saw serve ice cream in a gray flannel suit. He was a Borden man. Well, of course, he has to get on the wire to headquarters. You see him there with the ticker tape. Ticker tape right there next to the chocolate nut. Pretty soon the bell goes ding, 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 ding. We're all waiting in line. Thousands of people are coming out with ice cream cones. People were buying as many as 10 and 15 ice cream cones, carrying them like this, dripping, trailing it behind them. The ground was littered with busted cones. You could see the dying and the wounded still laying in the street. Who the hell cared? This was it. The once-in-a-lifetime moment. The Borden man came out. He's got his brush. Says ice cream cones, 2 for a dime. He just takes the 2 for a dime off, looks over at the crowd, holds up his brush. Ice cream cones. $0.01. 1 cent. There was a sigh that went through the mob. A corporate sigh. Ooh. Ooh. There are people today, I will guarantee you, that lie in their sleep late at night in Indiana. Veterans of those wars. Who see in their mind a sign that says, double dip ice cream cone, 1 cent.